Thank you for turning up this morning. I realise this is a horrible slot, but let's introduce me. So I'm Chris Royston. You may have met me on the table this week. I work in the Sales and Partner Enablement Group at ARM. I am responsible for researching, defining and implementing changes to ARM Developer. We talk to you guys a lot out in New Zealand, gather data, and we make changes to the website, and our whole methodology is data-driven, so we don't just make arbitrary changes. So we learned some stuff about you guys, which was surprising to us, I guess. Stuff we thought we knew, but we didn't really know. The surprising thing is for me, is the amount of our audience that exists in Asia, especially given the really poor site performance in that part of the world. The other surprising thing for us was ARM's a hardware company, but nearly 60% of our audience is software. So we do a really, really bad job of serving that audience, so we need to fix that. And the other thing is most people have more than 10 years experience on ARM. So what did we find? So we did a lot of research. We've done about a year's worth of research. We had a program of user interviews, competitor analysis. The competitor analysis taught us that sites that work well have a single site model. So ARM is really good at just popping up websites all over the place that do random things and look different and behave different. We have a very, very strange way of imposing our internal structure on the world on our websites as well, which is not good for you guys for finding information. We don't have very much how-to or getting started resources. We have marketing material and we have the ARM, and we have not much in between. And the people that do well do that very well. And the other thing we don't do is we don't really help you get up and running with examples, or lots and lots of reasons for that, but we need to help people out more with examples. So the little quote across the top is, and it sums the whole website up really, people arrive on ARM Developer from Google. People don't go to ARM Developer and browse around the place. If they do, they get confused. When they land from Google, they get confused. So we've made some changes to the search on the site, and we're going to make more changes to the search on the site so that it's easier to find stuff if you are there and looking. We're also doing a lot of work in the background to improve the SEO of the site so that Google finds you the right information. As I was saying about the navigation, it's very confusing when you land deep in the site from Google to know where you are and to know where you're going. So I'm making a whole bunch of changes to that. The first of which we've launched at Lenaro Connect. So we've got a new information architecture, new site structure that we've launched this week. And we've also, to answer the question on the right, we've also integrated the ARM community platform in the site. And that is because there's very little awareness, particularly in Asia, where our largest audience is, of the ARM community platform. Most people go to Stack Overflow, in fact, or similar. And there's also another thing we're doing in partner enablement, which is to take our experts from ARM and put them in Stack Overflow or put them in wherever the conversations are happening to either draw people into ARM Developer from those platforms or to answer the questions out there with an official kind of ARM response. Once you're in the pages, the experience is poor, or was. Lots and lots of strange duplicated content, lots of inconsistent ways to find information. Another thing we've changed with what we've launched this week is everything has the same journey, everything has the same pathway to get you to the content. There's a whole bunch of this unmet content, as we're talking about in the middle, which is how to get up and running, examples. You know, there's there's a huge gap of knowledge that we need to transfer, and all of that knowledge exists within ARM. There's no reason why we can't get that out there to people out in user land. And the documentation pages, I know they're bad. Everyone knows they're bad. We really need to improve that experience, and that's a thing that we will do. So what did we change this week? So we went from, excuse the green, we went from a website that was very much structured in how ARM was made up, So our product space was very representative of all the groups of ARM. We've moved that to a more flat view. So we've moved all the products out of where they were deeply hidden away in buckets that represent ARM, moved them up to basically silicon IP products and tools and software. Architectures has come up onto the top level because that's kind of a product. IoT's appeared there because there's a big push with the IoT within ARM at the moment. Support, downloads, documentation, they've all been lifted up to the top level as well because people struggle to find those. The other thing we've also introduced is they're not visible in the top level navigation, but we have a user role, a key tasks, and a solutions container. And the solutions container is more kind of applications. And if we drill into those a little bit more, we'll see that the user roles are what are you trying to do, developing software, working with hardware, designing an SoC, which is kind of a superset of the other two. Key tasks, what do you want to do? Do you want to optimize some software, blah, blah, blah. And the solutions are, like I say, around spaces that you might be working in. So if we were looking for a piece of gaming software optimization content, we'll find it in all of those buckets. And we'll find that if we landed on that gaming's software optimization content, we would find pathways back out to all of those buckets too. We would also find a way out to where it lives in the site structure. So we'd have this clear view of where it lives in the site structure. So we could go back to a product page. We would also, though, within that software content page, link to all of the other service hubs, as we call them. So we would have links to documentation, we would have links to the community, we would have links to the learning management system, whatever content we have available for that platform. So what's coming next? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fix the doc service. The documentation experience is pretty poor. We're working on this right now. The big thing is that we'll change the user interface of the documentation, and really key for us, and I've had lots of feedback this week about this, confidential docs. People want to be able to see the confidential content that they're entitled to. So you can see the TRM for most products for free because it's open, but if you're a licensee, you should be able to access those confidential docs. We're also going to lift the whole site up to the new ARM2 brand, which you might have seen on the arm.com website if you've ever been there. Make it big and shiny and awesome and cool. So I don't have a massive audience here. So what I did yesterday was I put together a thing called Mentimeter. I don't know if anyone's used Mentimeter before. Okay, so you need like a web browser. Go to menti.com. Because I was expecting a much bigger crowd. So go to menti.com and stick in that code 254640. We all good? So it should be if you're in, it should be asking you a question now, I hope. Heads are nodding. Are we in? Yeah, there we go. Huh. This works much better when there's a room full of people, by the way. But you know, this is pretty full. Like I say, I've done worse gigs than this. Okay, so that's kind of roughly most of us, isn't it? So most people haven't seen it yet. Good. Okay, that's going to make most of the other questions irrelevant, but that's fine. It's there. Go and take a look at it. I mean, do people in this room use the ARM developer website? Would be a question I would ask there.
Yes, but only for the stuff where I know exactly what the documentation is.
Straight to it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's and that's probably there's another nod over there of the same. Okay, that's cool. Matteo.
I have a question.
Please use your microphone.
So where can I find information about open source software?
Well, that's very good that you ask.
Yeah.
Would you like me to show you?
Yes, please.
Sure. Okay. Let's get a web browser up. Curse you, Chrome. Why did I have it there? You go to ARM Developer for a start, and you might think that that would live under something like software, maybe. And there you would find open source software. Because it's a software product, rather than it's hidden away in the depths of ARM Developer.
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
Now, more seriously,
Yeah.
It's a question for the audience. The struggle that we have been finding in designing the software section here is trying to understand which information could be useful for the audience, given that most of the open source software communities have their own references and places, common places, like LKML or whatever, trustedfirmware.org for firmware or whatever. So what can make sense to be put in here apart from a bunch of links? So any feedback, any suggestion, we are all, both Chris and I, more than welcome to hear your opinion back.
And there's a link actually that's in this presentation to allow you to give us feedback later. I won't go back to Mentimeter because it's pointless. There's a yellow button on every page. If I can get rid of the scroll bar. That ends up in my inbox. If you've got any comment about any page on this website, these come to me and my team. So, yes, at the back.
And just to clarify, it's developer.arm.com, not armdeveloper.com?
It's developer.arm.com. Or developer.com is what other people call it, but yes, it is developer.arm.com. That URL will be here. Okay. Well, that was pretty much what I had. Like I say, I was expecting a bigger crowd, but I drew a rough slot. So has anyone else got any more questions in the audience? Anyone? One over here.
I just wanted to ask, so you said you're planning to improve the search facilities?
We are, yeah. So the question was, are we planning to improve the search? Yeah, so the search on the site is really, really bad. Frankly, honestly, we just bought a search appliance and bolted it onto our website and did nothing to it. Not really realizing how powerful the search appliance that we bought was. So it's not Google good, but it's a pretty good appliance. So we've done a whole bunch of stuff around pinned search results. So when people search for popular things like the arm, that's pinned to the top of the search results. The latest version of that is pinned to the top of the search results as well, rather than just some random version 6. Yeah, well, we're working on it, right? Yeah. Another thing is, arm is a thing that people search for, but we don't actually refer to it as the arm anywhere. So that's another great example. So there's that. There is search synonyms. Again, arm is a synonym, so we're improving that. We're also moving to a new version of that search appliance so we can do search faceting. So once you're in a search, you can filter better. There's kind of 4 containers to filter at the moment. They're not really very clever. One of them actually is the page template name, which means nothing to people out in userland. So yeah, we're continuing to improve that search.
Yeah. One of the things I find with the search is that you wind up, if you search for something and you get a hit in one of the TRMs or something, you will get every version of that TRM, and like the first 10 results will be 10 different versions of the same document.
Yes.
So have you got plans to kind of try?
We are, in fact, yes, we are actually doing that literally right now. One of my guys in my team is working out how we do that. Because the way we construct our content means that we reuse a lot of content across TRMs, because it's the same for all of the A cores or M cores or R cores or whatever. So you end up, if you search for like L2 cache, you'll find 1,000 versions of the same topic. So we need to be a bit clever about how we do that, only provide the latest version of it for that product, but make it very clear. That's another thing that the search doesn't do. It doesn't make it clear what product you're finding that topic for. So again, we'll improve that. But if you want to see any more features in the search, yellow button. Any more?
So what's the channel we have to feedback to like what we would like to see?
Sorry, don't use that. Can I ask the question again? Sorry.
So,
Yes, on.
so what's the channel we have to provide feedback, or what I would like to see on support.arm.com, developer.arm.com?
That yellow button. You can. So if you hit that yellow button on the website,
Mm-hmm.
let me just
So
go
the
back to-
feedback, the link.
There's a feedback button on every page.
Mm-hmm.
So if you hit that little yellow button there, I found it very easy to do what I wanted to do today. There's a whole bunch of options in there you can choose from. So there's some very specific, frequently asked kind of feedback questions.
Okay.
People struggle with Design Start, or they're looking for where to go with Design Start because it's a quite a popular thing. Things are broken. I've got a licensing issue, but you can either say there's an issue with content, or there is I've got something else. And if you hit something else, you get a free text box.
Okay.
And that's basically a suggestion. You can leave an email address if you want to talk to us about it, if you want to have a conversation with us. More than happy to email you guys and talk to you about what you want, what you need. And we'll feed that into the future requirements. We'll build that out as we move forward. But everything we've done so far has been by talking to users. We've interviewed around 130 users. We actually had a user, like a focus group of about 35 users who helped us build, and then we tested the site back out with about another 75 users. So, and they're all recruited through the site. So we often have recruit intercepts. So every 20th user will receive an intercept to say, do you want to take part in a research activity? And we do that quite a lot. We could probably do that for open source software, if you like. Any more? No? Okay. I'll wrap up. I've made a form, especially on our website. If you've got anything from this event, that QR code and that page will persist for as long as you keep leaving me feedback on it. These slides will be in the slide share. Any questions, just ask me. You can get to me through that form or through the yellow button anytime. Thank you very much for coming. I realise this was a really early slot for a lot of people. Thank you.